Hey guys, Tyson Bench Killer Media here. Just at the conclusion of the Chargers and Raiders game. It's a little bit late because of the lightning delay, put things a little back. But happy to be with you guys for Week 4 review. Thanks for tuning into the show. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Queen City Brakes. Harris Avery and the guys over there have a lot of different brakes to offer. Single box, half case, full case. Bowman Chrome has been pretty hot lately. And if you want $10 off your first brake with them, just mention behind the numbers. You get $10 in brake credit. But I really enjoy their brakes. Go check them out. Queen City Brakes on Facebook. So let's get to it, guys. So Week 4, pretty crazy week. Pretty crazy week in the sense of we're seeing a lot of young talent do well, which is great for the hobby. It's great for the game. And I think that makes it fun for us collectors. And so I'm just really excited about that. We'll kind of get more in depth on the injuries on Thursday a bit as things start to kind of materialize in terms of who's out for how long. Not much has changed. Tua's still out. Wentz played through his injury again. It was a little bit better. McCaffrey's out. Cook played very little, 9 carries. A.J. Brown and Julio were out. Dalton didn't play, so Fields got to start again. Are kind of the big ones to kind of mention. But we'll kind of get a more update about how long, maybe get Chris back on the show for Thursday, get some more detailed updates. So the first thing I want to dive into before we actually get into the week review, I just want to give a little bit of a card grading take. And, if you follow me on Twitter, again, @numbers_behind, saw a couple hate HGA tweets and see all these tweets about, SGC sucks or PSA is the only thing that matters. And, I understand that people want to commit to a company or it's PSA all the way, and PSA is the best value. Their cards sell for the most, and I completely understand. I guess what baffles me is that when people see a mistake through HGA or see a mistake through BGS or FCG and all these new grading companies, just rip them to shreds. And I think that's odd because PSA makes mistakes as well. PSA was one of the easier places to gem. That's why most people went to PSA at the time, because the BGS 9.5s didn't sell for as much, and BGS 10 was really hard. So people just felt comfortable hitting the PSA 10 pretty consistently, so they went with that. But the thing that I keep wondering of all these PSA truthers, you'll say, is that why do we ignore that they've held so many of our cards for over a year? And that's not a factor in our support of them. I've had cards there for almost 11 months now. I've built a house in the time that my cards have been to PSA and not back yet. I'm moving into my house on October 20th. And I remember I sent the cards off right when the foundation was broke. And that's incredible. And my house got delayed even. So even I was late on that. So I just think we can nitpick, spelling errors and, well, there's no way this centering is good from this company and all those things. And that's all subjective. We're going to have subjectivity and variance in all of the grading avenues we go, and all the resubs that get different grades a second time. That stuff's going to happen. But I just think it's funny that we're just PSA all the way. Okay, that's fine. You like PSA, no big deal. The value's there. But I guess I just don't understand why PSA truthers or people like that are just okay with them holding our cards for so long and costing us a lot of money. A lot of people had a lot of cards in there. I've had a Zion red, white, and blue there for over 11 months now. Maybe I should have sent it faster. Sure, there's all those things, but it's just that's not exactly awesome business. So just kind of my grading card take. I think, in my opinion, it's great to give these new companies a chance. It's great to give other people a chance at slabbing cards and giving a good grade for the card. I think for me, most of it's just slabbed. Generally, the card's in good condition, whether it's a 9 to 9.5 to 10 or whatever it gets. And that's kind of good enough for me when it comes to my PC cards for sure. So when it comes to obviously selling, PSA is a better option because they're commanding the best value, but it's a matter of how long can you wait. But that's just kind of my grading card take. I'd love to hear you guys' grading card takes. It's not a grading card show. I just wanted to mention that because I got a little discussion on Twitter with some guys, and I thought they made some good points, and I just want to hear what you guys think. So I know, anyway, onward and upward here to the Week 4 review. So first off, Allen and the Bills dismantled the Texans and Mills. Mills had one of the worst quarterback performances we've seen in a long time. Almost Peterman bad, if you remember Peterman for the Bills, who was very atrocious. But he had 4 picks, 80 yards passing. Very tough day for him against that defense. And that defense is for real. I'm really excited for Sunday night game next week. Probably easily the game of the week is going to be Bills against KC. KC really needs to get a win to keep up with the division, and the Bills defense are playing really well. So I'm really looking forward to that game next week. Fields got on the start again because Dalton wasn't quite ready. Fields was better in the win over Detroit. I mean, he was better. I wouldn't say great, but he was better, more efficient. Definitely, I mean, he had 6 completions, I think, in the week before and was sacked like 9 times. So it was a completely different story. No touchdowns, 1 pick, but overall pretty good getting the win, which is important. Dak and Dallas are impressive in the win against Carolina. Dak spread the ball around. He hit a lot of different receivers and got a lot of different touchdown passes, different guys. But Lamb was pretty not really available in that game in terms of he was just getting covered a lot or doubled a lot. But Cooper and Lamb were pretty quiet, so he was hitting a lot of other guys. Zeke kind of got back on track as well. Darnold looked good. He still had 300 yards passing, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. He had 2 picks, though, but overall, I think it's still pretty good game for him. So I think that's pretty encouraging for Carolina. Still, even losing at Dallas is a tough game for them. So I'm still liking what I'm seeing from Darnold, seeing it 3-1. They got a big game next week against Philly that I think will be good for both quarterbacks there, Darnold and Hurts, in terms of their hobby push. Colts must win over Miami, so they go up to 1-3 with Miami dropping to 1-3. So Miami's really reeling right now. It's just going to be tough for them to tread water without Tua. When they do get Tua, it might be too little too late. But Taylor's 100 yards and 1 touchdown. So he did close 100 yards. Wasn't a big game, but still 100 yards is good to see. Wentz was solid, not great, nothing massive in terms of his hobby push or fantasy push. But they got the win, so they're still alive, especially with the Titans falling, which we'll get to. Browns key road win for the Browns at Minnesota. Minnesota's been playing really well. They had Arizona on the ropes in Arizona. They should have won if they didn't botch a field goal a couple weeks ago, and then they played the Browns pretty tough all game. Jefferson impressive again, another solid game with a touchdown for him. I'm really concerned about Baker's lack of weapons. He really has not a lot to throw to. With Landry going down, you kind of see that was kind of a big safety blanket for him. And I just feel like his weapons are pretty weak besides the running game. So you can see it in his numbers. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Saints stumble against the Giants at home. So, Saints have been really confusing. Kill Green Bay, get smashed by Carolina, beat New England, and then get beat by the Giants. So I'm not sure if the Saints are good or not. They're a very confusing team right now. They're back and forth in terms of it depends how well their defense does, and their defense didn't get the stops they needed this game, so they lost. They got lost in overtime with Barkley getting a touchdown. So a very interesting game there. Daniel Jones was impressive. He had 400 yards passing. It's a good step for him. It's a good defense. So I'd like to see if Daniel Jones can build on that. If the Giants can build on that, that could be good for Jones' hobby value going forward. Wilson brings back the Jets for first win. So both New York teams get on the board with wins the same week, which is good. Tannehill struggles. I said put struggles, but his receivers are both out. So I guess struggles isn't fair. But he definitely had to use a lot of different people. There's he had 9 or 10 different guys catching the ball from him at some point. Henry was solid as usual. Just the Jets just kind of made big plays on the stretch, and the Titans secondary has been a problem all season. And Wilson was able to get some touchdown passes on him. So big win for Wilson. Kind of a nice little comeback win for him, a little confidence builder, almost 300 yards, which we'll get to his numbers in a bit, but definitely a good step for Wilson. So if he was getting pretty scary for us there. So nice to see some life. Hurts and Mahomes have a shootout in typical KC fashion. Those track meets that Kansas City tends to instill in different games. Hurts over 400 yards total offense. Mahomes had 5 touchdowns, and CH was solid again. So ever since I said he'd sell him, he's been pretty solid. So hit over 100 yards rushing again, like 7 yards a carry. So CH showing some life. So that's really good. I mean, the biggest surprise to me of the week was how bad Arizona beat the Rams. I'm not saying, but I just thought how easily it seemed they did it was very surprising to me. Not that the Cardinals won. Kyler was really impressive again, just kind of pushing that MVP chant. Those MVP odds we talked about on the last show. I think that's his drum beats getting louder and louder with these type of wins. So that's big for him. Stafford wasn't great, wasn't bad. Just Arizona's outplayed them. Arizona got the pressures and the stops they need to. And I'm actually been pretty surprised by Arizona's defense. Arizona's defense is competing with other tough defenses in that division. So that's kind of what they needed. And I think that's good for them and a chance to win that division. Jimmy G got hurt against Seattle. And so Lance came in. We'll get to his numbers in a bit. But San Fran loses Seattle. Not a lot of numbers in this kind of I think Wilson had 3 touchdowns, but 1 rushing, 2 passing, under 150 yards passing overall. So it wasn't a big statistical game, but Seattle comes away with a big win, so they don't fall to 1-3. Baltimore puts Denver back into reality. Bridgewater got concussion. Locke was terrible when he came in. Did not look good at all. Lamar, 300 yards, really nice day overall, and tough defense for Baltimore. And Lamar did that against a tough defense of Denver. So overall, pretty good game for Baltimore there. Big win for them. Green Bay handles Pitt handles them easily. They were pretty much in control the whole game. Pitt falls to 1-3, and AJ Dillon had the same amount of carries as Aaron Jones there. So I don't know if that was just the game flow, but A.J. Dillon, he was pretty effective, almost 90 yards rushing. So something to watch, definitely to watch. I know some A.J. Dillon cards out of 2020. People still kind of have. They're very cheap. But if he gets going, he's definitely that cold weather type of running back in Green Bay that really could be good down the stretch for them. So I have him in a lot of fantasy leagues. I just think he's a guy that towards the end of the stretch, they might lean on him a bit more. So keep an eye on him for sure. Brady edges Belichick, but Mac Jones was really impressive. We'll get to his numbers there, but just a slightly missed field goal by Folk at the end on a very tough field goal in the rain, but hit the left upright and just clinged off. So very tough loss for Belichick, but overall very fun game to watch. It was as advertised, so it was a good one. And then tonight, Herbert was strong in the first half, 3 touchdowns first half, like 200 some yards. He slowed down the second half, but they held on to just beat Las Vegas pretty handily, 28-14, I believe was the final score. Carr definitely kind of back to old Carr a bit. He struggled, had some turnovers. So definitely that was tough for them. Jacobs, he played, but he's just not getting going anymore. It just seems like that first year stuff we saw in terms of what he could be, just the injuries, and he just kind of thinks like he's losing a step here and there. So definitely concerned about Jacobs going forward. Just his usage and his durability continues to be an issue. So overall, a pretty big week. Like I said, it's really nice to see Herbert and Kyler do some good things. Those young guys doing well is definitely fun for the hobby. Let's get into the rookie production to get those numbers. Those guys, those 2021 Donruss cards that we're chasing. Again, we're moving to parallels. There's a lot of base out there. The base cards that we talked about last week are down 30%. I'll get you another update this Thursday where they're hitting about, but I'm sure they're getting close to bottom dollar on the base cards. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence was 17 for 24 on Thursday. We talked about him already on the Thursday night show. 204, 8 rushes for 36 yards and a touchdown. Mac Jones, 31 of 40, 275, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Very efficient, very just really good game to see him on national TV. I was super impressed with him. Zach Wilson, 21 of 34 for 297, 2 TDs, 1 pick. Justin Fields, 11 of 17, 209, 1 pick, 3 rushes for 9 yards. Trey Lance, 9 of 18 for 157, 2 TDs, 7 rushes for 41 yards. Kind of a sketchy line there because he had about a 75-yard touchdown that was just gifted. Broken coverage. Deebo Samuel was just running free on the sideline, and he hit him, and he ran all the way in. So nice little stat booster for him. So his line's a little inflated, but he did show some flashes, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. Jamar Chase, solid again, 6 for 77. Devonta had a nice 100-yard game, 7 for 122. Waddle kind of came back to earth a bit. Only had 4 targets, 3 catches for 33. Kyle Pitts, 4 for 50, so some life, but the concerning part there was on 9 targets, so not very efficient. You're getting the ball thrown at you 9 times, you come down with less than 50% of them. That's not a good rate. So that's hopefully that gets a little bit better for him. Najee is 15 for 62 and a touchdown on the ground with 6 catches for 29. Javonte Williams, 7 for 41 and 3 for 11. Javonte's a guy I'd be watching. I know we don't have a lot of big rookie cards right now of him. With Donruss, probably not be the one you'd go for. But when Mosaic or Prism comes out, he might be a sneaky guy to kind of watch. He's just been really, really good in his yards per carry, pretty explosive. And I think that he's a guy that's going to slowly take over that job as Melvin. Melvin's just, I think it's safe to say Melvin's on the decline, and he also had kind of bad knees, and I'm not sure how long Melvin will last. But definitely Javonte's a guy I'm watching. So Mills' line was Davis Mills' line against the Bills, 11 for 21, 87 yards, 4 picks. So one of the uglier games you'll ever see. And then Trey Sermon starting to get a little steam with San Fran with the injuries. He had 19 for 89. Pretty solid game. Nothing amazing, but pretty solid. So some guys that noticed that were kind of hot and cold this week. Baker was cold. I told you the Minnesota's defense played him tough. Again, I'm worried about his weapons. He was 15 for 33 for 155. No touchdowns, no picks, but just a really kind of ugly stat line. Dalvin was only 9 for 34, so he's a second week cold. Last week is cold because injury. This week coming back hasn't really shown much. So again, if we get a nice big game from him, I'm a strong sell there for sure. Tom Brady, I just put it cold just because he didn't get any touchdowns against Tampa Bay on the throwing. He's 22 for 43, 269, no touchdowns. So, more is kind of put him on your cold. He's 22 for 43. It's a very low percentage for Tom. Brady is I thought he'd be a little bit more efficient in that game, but obviously that New England defense knows him quite well. But just very interesting stat line. So he's cold, but he's still obviously heavy in the MVP race. Hot players, Deebo Samuels, he had that one catch, but still had 8 for 156 and 2 touchdowns on the day. So overall, his day was still pretty massive, even with that 70-yard touchdown. Jalen Hurts, 400 yards of total offense, no turnovers. So the biggest thing for Hurts was no turnovers to me. I think that's what I want to see from him. Just the like little mistakes, be very efficient. But KC really kind of just, you get those track meets and these big numbers come. I'm just still not going to hang my hat on that for Hurts. Next week against the Panthers, I'm really going to be watching him close. If he comes, we're talking about a second, but if he comes out and plays well against Panthers, I'll be a little bit closer to being a believer. Mahomes, 5 TDs. That's obviously a hot week. Anytime you have 5 touchdowns, you're doing pretty well. And then DJ Moore, it's kind of a guy that's been on my sleeper list for a couple seasons, last season at the end, this season, the preseason. I just think that, we finally got that quarterback to throw deep to him. 8 for 113, 2 touchdowns. He's having a great year so far. He's put up some great numbers. Really nice receiver one for them. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Again, just want to mention my sponsor, Queen City Breaks Facebook group. Again, go check them out. They break all different, like baseball, basketball, football. Harrison Avery and the guys do a great job with the shipping. Everything gets to me quick. I really appreciate them for that. And again, $10 off. You mentioned Behind the Numbers when you get into a break with them. So just go look on Facebook, Queen City Breaks, and tell them that Behind the Numbers sent you. All right. So 5 takeaways, guys, to get us out of here. Okay, takeaways from week 3. Kyler and Herbert really making our card holders happy with their play in 4 weeks. So they're both combined 7-1, both leading their divisions, both putting up great numbers, and they're both in their second and third year in the league. And I just think that the youth and the kind of movement of them becoming elite quarterbacks in the league is exciting for us with the Cards and exciting for us as just a league. So definitely enjoying watching Herbert and Kyler right now. They've been really exciting, and I'm glad I have a couple of their cards myself. Mac Jones he's just really impressing me. His quick release, his poise, I'm really surprised. And I think the biggest thing for me that's surprising is he doesn't have a lot of offensive weapons. He's got Nelson Aguilar, he's got Jacoby Myers, he's got Bourne, just like all these guys have kind of been decent in spots of teams, and he's really just reading the field. He's got a quick release. I'm really impressed. And I think the Patriots kind of struck gold with him being the 5th quarterback taken. I think they have another guy potentially can lead that franchise for like a long time. So really good job by the Patriots. Good drafting. But it's early, but I'm just really impressed with what I've seen from him. Tampa Bay is a really good defense too. So that was not a shootout type defense, and it was in the rain. A lot of impressive things. I'm just really impressed with Mac Jones. It's the reason his card's number 1 Donruss rookie right now. He's been really impressive. Lance, I just want to say with Lance, he looked raw. Like he's throwing 5-yard dig routes, 100 miles an hour. And I was watching a lot of his things, and like a lot of the receivers are catching the ball like behind their head because he's just throwing it so hard. And it looks a lot like Josh Allen year 1. Josh Allen came into the league with just a laser arm. They knew had the legs to move, and they were just hoping to figure out the touch and the accuracy a bit. I think that's kind of the same plan for Lance. He definitely is just winging it and has the speed, and he can be a runner as well. So just kind of be patient with Lance. I think the passing efficiency could be slow to come, but I think give him some time, just like we took for Allen in his breakout. Big Ben's done. I mean, Pitt, he just can't move. If you just watch Big Ben, he just can't move. And he was struggling last year to move a bit, but he was still a little bit savvy that he could still make plays and do his normal Roethlisberger stuff. Right now, he just seems like he can't move at all. Age just kind of caught up to him, and I just don't see Pittsburgh being able to do anything with him at quarterback. And Pittsburgh's in trouble. I mean, they don't have a plan for quarterback. They have nothing in the works on the team. I mean, I know they have Haskins backing him up. I haven't heard any good things about Haskins at this point. Maybe some flyers on Haskins could be in your future for some Haskins rookie cards. But right now, Big Ben, I just don't think he can get it done. So that's a little bit discouraging because I thought they would be another year of just seeing that offense clicking relatively well with bringing in Najee Harris. So unfortunately, Big Ben does not look good. And then I kind of already went over this part, but again, Hurts took a step this week. He put up great numbers with no turnovers. It's a good team. Next week against Carolina, their front seven's pretty tough. They have great corners as well. So if he can do it next week, then I'll stop saying sell Hurts, but I'm still feeling like today was still a good sell right now off that high game against the Chiefs. They're still 1-3. They're not, as a team, they're not kind of where they want to be. So if they lose next week and drop to 1-4, it's going to get tougher to be kind of, even if the Eagles have to be a full believer in Hurts. So we'll kind of see where that goes with Hurts. But again, guys, follow me at numbers_behind. And also, again, please submit your vintage cards. If you have an awesome vintage NFL card that you just enjoy, I'd love for you just to mention it to me at numbers_behind on Twitter. I'd happy to give you a shout out and show your card. and we'll talk about the set. It's fun to kind of learn about these older sets and just see what different people like about them. So I hope you guys had a great week 4 and enjoyed it. Okay, we're on to week 5, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Appreciate it.